So how long does it take to recover from exercise? I know that when I was first learning exercise physiology, that I wanted a definitive answer. And I was given a pretty definitive answer at the time. So most people want to know, is it 2 days? Is it 3 days? Is it a week? How does it fit into my schedule so that I can work out Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, those types of things? And I hope that you understand a little bit more about recovery from what I'm about to share with you, but it's not so clear-cut, black and white, because there are many different factors that go into that. So most people nowadays, they have this idea that you want to train a body part 2 times per week. You want to get those training sessions in twice per week. In regard to, let's just say I'm going to work my chest, I want to make sure I hit that twice per week. And the idea behind that comes from what I'm about to share with you. But again, there are variations between people. So what does that mean? Okay, so how do we get this 2 times a week idea? Well, what I was taught was you have a training, and hopefully you can see this, you have a training stimulus, okay? So let's just say this is our training stimulus. When you train, you're not building, you're not growing, you're breaking down. You're giving the stimulus to your muscles that's a shock, that is a threat to its survival. If you threaten it enough, it's gonna have to respond. So your intensity level's high enough, you got the adequate stimulus, what's gonna happen? Your performance, all right, over time is going to go down, okay? You're gonna be breaking down. But then you're gonna hit this phase where you start to improve. The stimulus creates a response. First, it's gonna break down, right? Your body's figuring out how it can bring itself back to homeostasis from this threat that it was on its tissues. It's gonna then come back up. And then we're gonna reach a point where we break over, because it's, again, this threat, if we have to face that again, we want to be stronger. So your body has to adapt to it in a positive way, and then we get up to another height. Well, after a certain amount of time, we get diminishing returns and we go back down to our normal level. And if we don't train ever, again, we'll go down to whatever our, let's just say our baseline was, okay? So if we started up here, we're gonna end up breaking down. If we have no training whatsoever, this would have been our starting point and you would have seen like that. So anyways, we get this increase. Well, you want to try to time it at its peak before it starts going down. And what I was taught was this time for strength training, hypertrophy, was about 2 to 3 days. 2 to 3 days. And that's why you get this idea of, I'm going to train a body part twice a week. If it's 2 to 3, okay, that's every 4, that's going to be 2 times in a week, right? 3 days would be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays. 2 days a week, it's going to be Mondays and Fridays, or Mondays and Thursdays, right? You want 3 days in between, okay? So 1, 2, 3, right? Kind of understand the picture. So anyways, 2 on average. Well, why is it 2 to 3? Why isn't it 2? I want a definitive answer, JD. Give me the actual number. Well, that depends on lots of factors. Okay, so this increase, this rise in the response to the exercise, the difference between this one and this one right here, okay, has to do with a lot of factors. How do we get this? Number one is like your recovery, right? Your sleep. How much quality in those 2 to 3 days are you getting? How much nutrition are you getting? Are you adequately feeding the tissues with protein, with water, with vitamins, minerals, carbohydrate, whatever it is that you need to build from this stimulus? Are you getting enough of that? Are you on anabolic steroids? One of the things that steroids allows you to do is to decrease this time, because you break down, but you go recover a lot faster, because you're building. So this, instead of looking like this, will be much more up, all right? You're gonna recover a lot faster, so that you're gonna be able to get more training in so that you can build faster, get stronger quicker, okay? That's how steroids work. So there's lots of different factors. You might be someone without steroids, you have a lot of growth hormone and testosterone, all of the things that steroids replace your hormones with. You might have a lot of that. So you might be able to train more often. This is a lot of times what you see with bodybuilders. You see the genetic freaks, and then they're on steroids, and then they write a program and you try to follow that. And if you're not like them, you're probably not going to get the same sort of results. You're probably going to overtrain. I know I was guilty of this. Like I said, there's sleep factors, there's stress factors, there's all these other factors that go into messing with your recovery that allow you to get back into this phase. So is it 2 to 3 days? Is it, and then this is the other thing. If I look at this curve, I'm above this line for this whole period right here, okay? So this stimulus, we go down, we come up. So anytime in between here, I can still make improvements. This perfect timing thing is going to depend on an individual. And how much time is that? How much time is it from here to here? How much time is it from here to here? This might be an entire day. So if I train on Monday and I hit it on Thursday or Friday again, it might not make any real significant difference between the two. But it also might not make any significant difference because from Monday to, let's just say, Sunday, I might still be able to get the same amount. Basically, like I said, I'm still going to be improving slightly from here to here from Monday to Sunday. So once a week might be enough. So, and I realized, and this is why I went back to a more old school way of training, was I remember when I was making the most gains. Now, initially, again, when you first start out, you're going to make the most gains whenever, right? And anytime you start something anew and your body's untrained, you're going to build the fastest. You're going to make the most gains. When you've been training for a long period of time, you're going to hit these plateaus. So this level of improvement, whether the graph looks like this, or like this, okay, getting big, huge spikes, right, is dependent on your level of training. So you can't expect to gain 100 pounds on your bench press if you've been training for 5 years, right, and you already have made all these improvements. You see what I'm saying? But what I want to get back to is the old school way of training that I did was gym bro, right? When I first started out, I didn't know, I hadn't had a certification yet. I didn't know anything about training. I just did what the jack guys in the gym did. What did they do? A lot of them are on steroids. They did one muscle group per week. They would hit chest on Monday. International Chest Day is Monday, right? Tuesday, they would hit shoulders or back. Then they would hit, arms. And then they would hit, like they would do one muscle group per day, take a day off, and then repeat that cycle again. And so that was 1 week in between the training sessions, and I got great results with doing that. Now, it was probably too much volume overall, but like I said, I was a beginner, so anything that you do, you're gonna get results. Well, now I train most muscle groups once per week. I was doing a training program where I was doing a full body workout just once a week. Very high intensity, so the amount of stimulus I was getting was very high, but I wasn't training until 1 week later. Now I started adding in another day and I'm filling in the gaps. I'm filling in things that I'm not working on those days, okay? Or not to the level of extent. So doing things like abs, or doing things like forearms, and just filling the calves, things like that just were falling away because my workout intensity was so high, I couldn't allow those exercises to be in there on a full body day. Push, pull, doing all sorts of crazy things made it harder for me to add in these little things because I couldn't get the intensity. I take a couple days off, do another training session, I'm able to get the intensity that I want out of those exercises. So 2 days a week, but still really the frequency for the muscle group is only once per week. And I'm seeing results, and I get results, just like I was when I was doing 1 time a week before. But this 2 to 3 days thing works for many people. I happen to be someone that does not recover very quickly. How do I know this? How do you know that you're going to be recovering? This is the answer to the whole thing. How do I know? You've got to track your progress. If I am going in and I'm bench pressing 100 pounds on one day, and then I go back 2 days later, and I can't do that same workout that I did from start to finish with the same number of repetitions and weight, then I'm not recovered enough. I'm still in this breakdown phase, or I haven't quite gotten up. So this point is lower than this point. I want to catch it where I can do equal, the same amount, or slightly more. And this is why I'm always trying to improve, even though I'm at my basic plateau. Unless if I gain weight, unless if I eat more, I'm not going to be able to improve in the gym because I've been doing it for so long. There's no miracle out there unless if I work harder, eat more, and get more recovery overall, more quality recovery, I'm not going to make any improvements. So I go with 1 time a week because it's easier on my brain, it's easier on my schedule. I like that. I need the extra. Now here's the other thing. The extra, right? Like I said, let's erase this for a second so that you guys can see maybe something a little bit better. The extra day or two, in my case, is only going to help you. And this is what I mean by this. If I have the training stimulus and I break down and I'm going down and then I start building back up, this tends to, over time, the graphs, they tend to do this. It's not like a perfect down, up. You tend to build, and then this, you start to really wane away in a slight curve. Whereas this and this, these curves are more here, this is more rounded. So you have much more time to be able to get that next training session. You can do it here, you can do it here, you can do it here. So more time off in between, a lot of times is more beneficial because of, like I said, all those factors that might go in from here to here. The sleep, the nutrition, the stress, the life, all these things that go into getting you to recover maximally. Another day isn't going to hurt you. As a matter of fact, it might help you. So number one, you've got to track your progress. You've got to write down everything that you do in the gym so that you don't guess, if I'm improving or if I'm staying the same, or if I'm not able to do the same workout, get out of the gym. If I go back into and I start doing my exercise and I hit my first set and I look at my numbers and I go, my first set was 10 reps last week and today it was 9 reps, get out the gym. Just go home. Unless if it's a mental thing where you're like distracted mentally, if it's a physical thing where you were actually trying to push that weight up and you couldn't do the same amount, go home, recover, take a week off. It's only going to help you in the long term. If I take too much time off, of course, I'm not going to be able to get back to where I was. But usually that breakdown starts to happen 3 to 4 weeks. So again, your baseline level, wherever you were, takes a long time to shift, 3 to 4 weeks. But I would say experiment with your workouts. Take an extra day off and see when you come back into the gym, do I get more results? Do I see a little bit of improvement? Do I not? I think my actual maximum, if I work out on Monday here, my maximum, what I believe, is actually on Sunday. So it's 6 days. I was experimenting this with before, right? I felt like I was making more improvements when I did it like that because I was working out at my home. Well, my schedule, it works better for my brain. It works better for my schedule if I just take the full week, Monday to Monday. So that one little tiny bit is not enough for me. The one repetition that I was getting here and there, and again, not every week, it just was a little bit, I felt like I was able to put a little bit more from time to time. I'm still improving from Monday to Monday, but that Monday to Sunday, I think was optimal. 6 days of rest or 5 days of rest was optimal for me to really maximize. But for me, I go, the stress of having to change my training day to go to the gym at a different time, my schedule works perfectly with it. Why am I going to change? So you might find that one day change might help you, but it's just going to cause more chaos in your life. What's the point? You might be one of those people that the recovery is 2 to 3 days. You might have the genetics that allow you to recover quicker. Then that might mean you do a workout on Monday, you do chest on Monday, you do back on Tuesday, you do legs on Wednesday, and then you repeat that cycle. 1, 2, 3, and then you take a day off. Maybe that's how it works. I don't like training that much. I only want to train 1 day a week. So I do a full body workout once a week or twice a week, giving myself adequate rest, but really the full body comes in is only once a week. The heavy duty stuff is only once a week, where the other is like a filler. Like I said, working some of the smaller muscle groups and doing things that I don't get to. So that's the way that I do it, but the way that you recover is going to depend on what's happening in this time that you're getting the recovery. All of this. Are you getting enough sleep? Are you getting enough? And that depends, everyone's a little bit different with that. Are you getting enough vitamins? Are you taking steroids? Are you not taking steroids? All those things go into how often you can train to be able to recover. But the way that you're going to know that is by recording your progress. If you want to gain weight, if you want to build muscle, are you tracking your weight? Are you tracking your body fat? Are you gaining weight, but it's just fat? Are you really doing the detailed work you need to do to find out if this actually is giving you results? And then experiment. And then, like I said, start with taking a day less, doing less, taking more time off in between, and see if that doesn't help. I found that was the key. I went from 5-6 days a week to 4 days a week to 3 days a week to 2 days a week to 1 time a week. And I started to find that I was making the same progress with that, but I was getting all this other benefit, more time, less stress. So much more was added to my life. Now, that might not be you. You might want to go to the gym 5 days a week. Well, then that depends on what you're going to do on those days in the gym. So that's how you start it. Again, muscle groups. You're going to want to train 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. Maybe, getting the rest between. So again, you got to figure that out by recording your progress. Write down everything that you do, sets, reps, weight, even the whole total workout time. Okay, if I'm taking more rest, right, is that allowing me to do more in that workout? So recording a lot of those details, recording your weight, recording your body fat, will help you understand how much you need. Hope that helped. That's all for today.